Hi guys, welcome to live Q&A. So I got it started mostly almost on time because the package just showed up, so I got that done. All right, so we have 4 things to look at today. So what we're going to do here, so we have the first question, which is what is healthy helping? Second question is, how do I tell the difference between what appears to be genuine feelings or just somebody trying to fix me? And then, why am I not responsible for their needs? And then the last question, which is added by Dina, how to build and foster trust. I'm going to start with question number 4, how to build and foster trust. There's a model that I really, really like, and it's very simple and very clear, that was created by Brene Brown. It's called Braving. Braving's an acronym, and I'll post in the group my little infographic on trust, but B stands for boundaries. Do they respect and honor our boundaries? Do we respect and honor theirs? And do they respect and honor their own boundaries? Do they have integrity? So B for boundaries. R for reliability. Are they reliable? Can we count on them to be there for us? Can we count on them to respect us, got text coming in. Do they respect us? Do they hear us? Do they honor us? Do they keep their word? So are they reliable in the things we need people to be reliable in for us to have a safe relationship with them? Okay. So B for boundaries, R for reliability, A for accountability. Are they accountable for their behavior? Do they own what they do? Do they own their choices? Or do they blame shift? Do they play the victim? Do they make excuses for themselves? Or do they just own it? Like, I screwed up. It's mine. I got to own it. So B-R-A, and then we got V for vault. Do they preserve what we give to them? Do they keep it in private? Or do they go and gossip about it with other people? And then I for integrity. Does their talk equal their walk? And does their walk equal their talk? Do they do what they say they do? It's as simple as that. Again, the fundamental is behavior here, guys. Behavior, not words. Remember, words are shit. Behavior, that's where reality is. We know people by their behavior. N is for non-judgment. They're not hostile towards your points of view. They may disagree with you, but they're not going to condemn you or attack your character or anything like that because, they disagree with you. And G is for generosity. Are they warm? Are they considerate? Are they kind? Do they think the best of you? Do they consider a mistake to be like, they just must have had a bad day or something's going on? They don't sit there and weaponize it like, well, you're angry, that means you must hate me, or something else is going on. They don't carry that kind of intensity. They're very much open to seeing if you're, to considering that you're just trustworthy. Something went wrong and they want to understand it. So building and fostering trust has to come through that kind of model. And there's 2 angles to this. If I'm in a relationship and somebody's breached my trust, they have got to take ownership and then demonstrate through behavior, not through their words, empathy, understanding, and then change. If I don't see that, I'm done. I'm pretty strict on things that way, just because I've gone through it enough. I'm done with the bullshit that people do in relationships. So if they're not going to show up and do their thing and have integrity, then I'm not going to play the game. Now, if I've broken their trust, I must be proactive about restoring it. I cannot wait on that person because that, again, violates the boundary. That's putting the onus or responsibility on them to carry the relationship. If I've realized I've breached someone's trust, I need to step up and repair it. Or I have no integrity and I'm not accountable. So I'm already violating the model anyway. So that's how you build and foster trust, is if they're doing those things, and it happens over time. It happens over the experience of exposure to them. It's not a one-time event. This is something they do chronically. So we get to know them that way. All right, so we'll go to question number 3. So we're going to do it backwards today. Why am I not responsible for their needs? And I drew a little graphic. I'm going to show you a graphic. Whee! All right, you see this line right here? This is the boundary. And then you have yards, their yard or your yard and their yard. And these are all the things that fall in their yard. Their feelings, their actions, their choices, their needs, their wants, their life, their aspirations, their goals. Why? Because it's in them. Their feelings exist in them. They are 100% responsible for their needs. And if they're having a problem and they're not fixing it, they're responsible for that. We are not responsible for their needs. We are responsible for our needs. This is the trick with codependent thinking. It's focused on the other person. Healthy people are focused on themselves and the context they have with people. So that's what I mean when I say I choose myself first. It's not I choose myself only like a narc. It's, oh, I come first and find out where I'm at with this, what I want to contribute. And then once I know what that is, I can look at the context and the situation and make a decision there about what I want to do in this interaction with this person, right? But feelings are generated in the individual. And that is why it's their territory. It exists in them. It's their yard. Stop playing in other people's yards and start playing in your yard. And your happiness will get better. There's a saying that says, if the grass is greener on the other side, you probably need to start watering your own grass. Yeah. And so becoming aware and self-reference, we got to come back to ourselves. What do I want? Who am I in this situation? What matters to me? And it's not going to always be about the other person. It's going to be about, well, what am I getting in this? What is this working for me? And then how does this impact them? Let's have a discussion and find out what's going on there so that we can understand how to build a mutually satisfying experience. But codependency has us going, their needs matter. Nah, their needs matter equally, if not just a touch less than ours, until we understand where we're at. Because guys, we matter too. Us, we're priorities too. And in healthy relationships, reciprocity is created when both partners or anybody that's involved in this has an understanding of this fundamental. It's like, well, I care about how you feel, you care about how I feel. We can make a transaction that's going to make sense to us. It's going to be an easy volley of exchange. We're going to feel really safe, very seen, very heard. We're going to be okay. But when we have this one-way direction that goes on with narcissistic relationships, there's nothing happening. We can't move forward. We can't progress because nothing's returned. So we keep trying to get them to change by focusing on them. So we have to reverse that. So their needs, this is why we're not responsible for their needs, because it's their needs, not ours. They're grown-ass adults. Let them solve their problems. Let them deal with their issues. That's not our job. We're not their parents. Our job is to parent ourselves, focus on ourselves, and grow our lives, make our choices. So, all right, so to the second question, since we went backwards today, how do I tell the difference between what appears to be genuine feelings or just somebody trying to fix me? The way the question's worded gives me a little, I'm not exactly clear on what the context is. So I'm going to assume that maybe I'm in a social situation and someone comes up to me and I meet somebody and then 2 hours later, they're like, you're the best thing ever. I really like you. You're just so incredible. I would really like to have a relationship with you. I mean, I've never felt this way before. It gets, a little grandiose or whatever. That gets a little weird, right? That's completely, and in the context of it, completely inappropriate. That's a huge red flag when people are just suddenly, I really like you. Huh? You don't know me, so you can't tell me you like me. But you can. Healthy people would approach this from the angle of saying, I've really liked our discussion tonight, and I like how this feels. I like what we're doing here. How do you feel about it? And all right, cool. Would you like to do this again? It's casual, it's relaxed, it's open, and it's not intense. The reason why it's not intense is because they're seeing a human being Whereas when we get into these big intense things like love bombing, for instance, they're very idealized. They're a fantasy coming in. And we are projecting our fantasy onto a person. So we're not seeing who they are. We're seeing what we want them to be. And we're falling in love with what's called the idea of a person rather than, oh, yeah, you're cool. This is cool. I like how this feels. This is good. It's safe, and whatever it might be. So that's one angle I can see coming through this question. Now I'm going to take a different angle. Just somebody trying to fix me. This comes in differently. So somebody, and I've had people do this, where they approach me and they're like, you seem really upset and angry, or what's bothering you? What can we do to help you? I'm like, well, I'm just fine. No, you need to tell me. You need to tell me what's going on. No, I don't. It's when they start pushing the boundary, you're getting into fixing territory. When somebody assumes they know you and your situation better than you do, they're trying to control and fix you. If you assume you know their situation better than they do, especially when you do not know this person, you do not know the context, you've not even been given permission, you've not asked, you just assume and inject it, you're attempting to fix. And this gets into question number 1, which is, what is healthy helping, right? And so healthy helping asks, number 1. Healthy helping, number 2, respects the boundaries of the individual. And there's a boundary that a lot of times we don't catch in this that's really important. It's the boundary of the person's autonomy to fix their problem. They have the right not to fix their problem. They have the right to let their house burn down. We don't have the right to interfere with choices that we disagree with. I mean, the only time we're interfering with that would make sense is if there's physical bodily harm to them or someone else involved in the situation, or even emotional harm, and we're talking about abuse. But if fundamentally, though, most of the problems we encounter in the world are people who have this element called learned helplessness, and we think that we know better than they do about how to help their lives, and we enable that problem by going in and trying to fix things. So healthy helping encourages people to find solutions to their problems through questions, and usually through proper active listening. It's like, well, it sounds like you're really frustrated with this problem in your relationship. What would you like there? All right, so you would like this. What ways do you have available to you right now that could help promote that in your relationship? Have you talked with your partner about that? Those kind of things. The proper helping focuses the person on helping them find a solution rather than we creating the solution for them, or we're trying to own their problem for them. So healthy helping, 1, asks. 2, encourages them to take care of their problem. Number 3, it respects your boundaries and their boundaries. Because sometimes people need help, but we actually don't want to give the help. And that's okay. We have two fundamental rights, and I call these our first 2 rights. The first right is to occupy space. That means we get to exist, and we get to exist as we are. So if I'm sitting here in my little office and I'm frustrated, then I get to exist that way. Or I'm bored, I get to exist that way. People can come and tell me, you shouldn't be frustrated, get over yourself, whatever. Sure. And I don't have to comply. I can just say, get out of my office. Who are you? Why are you here? That'd be weird. But, and then the second right is we have a right not to care. See, empathy on overdrive compels us to care. But our empathy is a gift, guys. It isn't a right. It's not an entitlement other people have. Nobody's entitled to our empathy. Nobody's entitled to our care. We have a right to regulate it and put it where we want it to go. And sometimes, and this is very frequently for us, we're tapped out. We've had a long day. Our energy is low. It's not there. Unless the person is dying, they don't need our help that bad. Somebody else can assist them. And 99% of the problems that we encounter aren't life-threatening. I mean, people will solve their problems, and we can trust that. And that's another aspect of healthy helping, is that we assume they can solve their problem. And we assume that if they need help, they'll ask. Now, we can always ask. I'm not saying don't, but never assume that they want your help. Always ask and find out. Get consent. One of the things codependency and narcissism does is it trains us to breach consent, cross boundaries. So we gotta step back and ask, did they solicit this request for help? Did they ask for it? Did I ask if they wanted help? So, and the way we ask is, would you like some help? Yeah, I'd like some help. How can I help you? You let them define the terms of the assistance, because we don't actually know. Our brain thinks it does because we've gotten very good at predicting, and that convinces us that we almost have this psychic power to read people's brains. What really we have is an acute ability to analyze people and understand the probability of what they're looking for. And that's a great gift, and it's very powerful, but we have to regulate our boundary by asking. So don't assume we're right. Always assume that you've got a hunch, and let's find out if we're right or not. And if we are, cool. And if we're not, cool. Everything's okay either way. So here's an acronym for you to kind of like gel this in for you. So we got our first acronym, which was BRAVING, which is about trust, and I'll post that in a group when we're done here. Second one is HELP. Honor boundaries. Encourage them to find their solution. So HE. L is for listen, active listening and reframing. Send it back to them. And P, and I wrote this one down because P always gets away from me. It's on my paper. Where P? Yeah, promote self-reliance. What that means is, okay, well, if you don't, need any more help, I'm out of here. I'm going to go on and live my life. Because help does not have to be constant. That turns into caretaking. And we don't need to do that. Most people do not need caretaking. They need to take care of their choices and their responsibilities so that they can be healthy too. Because we are much more than helpers. We've got a whole life to live, guys, about out there, building dreams, accomplishing our desires, doing the adventures we want to do. And we need to tune into us and get to know us so that we can do those things and contribute those things to the world. So we're much bigger than just helping people. We have a life to live. We're here to have adventure, to enjoy, to have love, to have connection, to have play. We need to find out who we are in those things and what those things mean to us so we can go out and do them. And that kind of segues into this project I have called Embodiments that I'm going to be posting about here tonight and tomorrow, which is a very simple process of discovering who you are in this. And we do it with a monthly experiment that takes you through an embodiment and what an embodiment is kind of like role playing. You remember when you were a kid and you would role play being a cop or being a robber or an astronaut or Barbie or something? We started to learn about who we were through these characters. Well, embodiment's the same idea. We take an attribute like confidence and we begin to practice being that. And we learn who we are in an intuitive way with a guided meditation that excites or inspires our natural ability to be that. Because my display of confidence isn't the same as your display of confidence. And this is one reason why a lot of self-help fails, is we're trying to be somebody's version of this attribute, like confidence or love or sexiness or whatever it might be. And it isn't us, and so we don't understand it. What embodiments does is it solves this problem by giving you an intuitive experience of you being this attribute. And so we do that with a monthly experiment where we have 3 experiments during the month. The first one is you being this thing general. The second one is you being in a relationship so you can maintain who you are in connection to somebody else. And the third one is you being it and facing a problem and solving it as that attribute. I found that these 3 steps make a profound difference in the way people are able to grasp and take on life. So keep your eye out for that, because it's called the Ease and Joy monthly experiment course. So I'll be posting more about that soon. So, yeah, you're welcome, Esther. You're very, very welcome. Oh, and hi, Bob. Thumbs up, Bob. So, but that's the answers for this week's Q&A. I'll be posting the Brave stuff, and I'll get the help info thing done tomorrow. I'll get that posted for you guys. Let's see, there was one other thing, comeback thing. Oh, and we have our first workshop starting for September on Tuesday, guys. This is where we're going to get to go in and go through my 3-step process that allows you to know what you want and then how to get it. It's really not about, well, it's got the 3 steps of knowing what you want so you can understand what you want, take action towards it, and then understand the 3 to 5 core values that actually drive all your decisions. It's a very intuitive, very simple process. But that starts on Tuesday at 7 p.m. MDT, so Mountain Daylight Savings Time. And you can join. I'm going to repost the link. You can join until Saturday. Okay. So otherwise, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of Thrive. And remember, you're worth knowing, you're worth loving, and you're worth keeping. I'll see you guys next Thursday. If you have any other questions, just feel free to post them in the group. And you guys have a great evening. Bye-bye.